Hello, welcome to our talk on 2-point perspective shapes. So in 1-point perspective, we are looking at things head on and we're trying to draw them as we're seeing them just from the front. And 2-point perspective is really helpful when we start to draw an object where we are looking at it from an angle. Okay, so to get us started, I have drawn out our horizon line, which is synonymous with eye level if we're inside. And instead of installing one vanishing point in the middle like I did before, you'll note that I have 2 of them. And they're spaced as far apart as I can get them, because when we space them far apart, it helps to prevent distortion. So when we are drawing an object in 2-point perspective, 3-point, maybe we'll get there. We are going to start with the side of the object that is closest to us. So in this case, I want to make a shape which is above the horizon line, and I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to say, this is the side of my shape. And just like with our 1-point perspective, we're going to go ahead and we're going to connect those corners to the vanishing point. But which vanishing point? Okay, so the lines that are on, and just remember this with me, I am a little bit dyslexic, so we're going to write this right here, left and right. So the lines that are going, of the object that are going to the left, are going to connect to vanishing point 1 on the left-hand side. So let's do that first. Great. And now we're going to go find that connection again. If you can hear any little noises, that is probably Blue, the pit bull, in the background. Okay, so already we can see we've got this beautiful triangular shape. Now you're going to notice, okay, Anne's trusty 12-inch ruler is not going to cut it getting to the opposite side. So I'm going to pull out the bigger one for this side. All the way to the vanishing point. And just like last time, I can cheat my lines a little bit if I wanted to by not drawing them in all the way so I don't have to do too much erasing. But when we're first starting out, it's really great just to be able to see that. Okay, so now we have both the left and the right side of the shape. And so then I can start to make some decisions, thankfully with my smaller ruler again for just a second. And I can say to myself, okay, maybe I'd like it to be about this wide. And I really have to find that strong vertical, right? Because if I do it at an angle, it's going to make my shape distort. Maybe I'll show you that in a minute because it actually can look really cool. But if you're trying to do things where they have a kind of visual perfection to them, it's not going to work. Okay, so we really try to get that nice up and down. And then we can sketch in that side. And that is going to establish the point at which we're going to connect all the way back over here to VP2. Okay. We really want to make sure we line up the best that we can. Wonderful. So now I suppose maybe on this side you're starting to see it, but still on this side we've got a crazy shape. Okay, so, all right, I think I'd like this to be a little bit rectangular, so I'm going to come all the way over to here, and I'm going to go like this. All right, so now we've established most of the sides of this shape. But where will we go from here? Okay, so this one has to angle back to vanishing point 1. I think I can do that with my small ruler. Yes, I can. And that's going to establish the way that angle moves backwards. Wonderful. So now I'm just going to turn this off for a second, and I'm going to erase this, 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 and this, so that you can just sort of see the cube in space. And oh my goodness, I was such a brat, right? That line should go all the way to there, but I just did that to save myself a little time. Welcome back. I've been doing some serious erasing, and I just wanted you to see this. Sometimes what I do is I take a completely cleaned paintbrush, and then I just knock those crumbles right off the paper. And you can see we have a little bit of ghost lines, and you can prevent that in your own drawing by drawing those lines lightly. I'm kind of laying them on because I'm worried that you won't be able to see with enough contrast in the video. Okay, great. So you can see it there. You can see we are seeing the shape from the side. Because it's above the horizon line, we're able to see part of the face that's closest to us, part of the side, and underneath the shape. And we have just a little bit more control of that angling. So why don't we try it with a shape that is below eye level? So I'm going to go ahead and again, you remember now, hopefully, the way that we begin. We begin just by making the side of the shape that is closest to us. So that side is always going to appear longest. Wonderful. Okay. And so from there, I'm going to take my lines that correspond to the left-hand side of the shape, and I'm going to take them to vanishing point 1. Wonderful. And now you remember what to do from here. For our lines that correspond to the right-hand side, we're going to take them to vanishing point 2. By the way, if for any reason you're still waiting for your ruler to come in and you're like, uh-oh, how will I ever do this? You can use the edge of a box or a book or even a folded piece of paper. If you fold it nice and neat, can work as an impromptu ruler. Wonderful. Okay. Let's see if I can pull this off here at the desk. A little bit trickier. So I'm just going from my corners and connecting to my vanishing point. And you'll notice I'm always kind of just bracing my ruler because I don't want it to wiggle midway. Wonderful. And if that does happen, I don't panic. I just take it and I do a little bit of erasing. Okay, so let's see here. What kind of a shape shall I make now? Maybe I'll do something kind of like that. And again, I'm just trying to check and make sure that my ruler is really like nice and vertical. Fantastic. Okay. And then I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to decide my depth on the other side as well. Just try to find that nice and vertical. Okay. All right, so this is kind of a pop quiz for us. So it's like, uh-oh, this line is on the left-hand side. Do we connect it back to the left-hand vanishing point? No, we've already done that. We've got to take it all the way over to the right-hand side. So let's go ahead and do that now. And you can just see me, I just work at it with my ruler until I really have it lined up, because sometimes if I get hasty and I don't do that alignment, then my shapes look weird. Okay, so you can see we've got the top part of the shape there. And then we can come over on this side, and even though this is on the right-hand side of the object, we're gonna send that line to vanishing point 1. To make sure I can really see where to start. Wonderful. Okay, so we're going to pause for just a second as I do my erasing work so that you can see that shape. Okay, so you can see that when I did a little bit of my cleanup, I lost a little bit of that backside. So I'm just gonna add that back in. Another thing that I can do, you guys are probably really starting to crave some shading at this point, and don't worry, in the coming weeks we're gonna get super heavily into that. But I can just add like a little touch of value along the bottom of the shape, because usually light is falling most prominently on the tops or maybe on some of the sides of a shape, and usually we'll have dark underneath. Maybe I'll come ahead and I'll put like a slightly lighter shade on this side. I'm not worrying too much about that, but it really does kind of bring out the dimension of the shape. So I'm going to do the same thing here. You can see I don't worry a lot about it. I just hold it to the side, and then I'm going to come in the opposite direction. All right, for practice, we're going to do one more shape just right on the horizon line. So just like I've been doing before, I'm going to start with the side of the shape that is closest to me. And then from there, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to connect the corners to the vanishing points. Or in this case, I mean, I'm calling them the corners, and they're going to be the corners, but I should really say it's the ends of the line. Top and the bottom. Okay. So already we can see that squeeze, and then we're going to need our long ruler for this side. Excellent. So it's really that kind of elongated kite shape that we're looking for at first. And then from there, we can start to make those same decisions. We could make this extend really far back, or we could make it narrow. I think I'm gonna make it narrow because we haven't really made any really narrow shapes yet, and I think that would be fun. Oop, and I went a little over the top there, but no big deal because I'm gonna clean that up later. And I'm actually going to let this shape kind of overlap the other shapes. So again, finding that strong vertical, putting in that line. Okay. And so from there, I have done what I need to do, unless this shape is see-through. So I'm going to just go ahead and clean up so you can see. So you'll notice in my other drawings that I've not taken out the horizon line or eye level in any other space, but because this shape is overlapping it, and because this is one of the last things that I'm going to show you with these shapes, I'm going to go ahead and take that out so that you can really see what that looks like. And then that'll really give us that feeling of opacity, like something we can't see through. Wonderful. And so we have like a little bit of ghost lines, but you can see that shape. And all of a sudden, wow, we really have an increased sense of depth because of the fact that we have overlap with these objects. So I can do the same thing that I have been doing